when I got asked to do this tonight, I thought, well, I'm kind of in my comfort zone in some ways, because I grew up in an area called Brooks Bar, which is basically where Old Trafford kind of cuts in like a triangle between Moss Side and Hughes. And Moss Side is where Tunes grew up. And what those areas have got in common is, well, they're kind of as working class as you can get, but also there's about a 10% chance that your parents are actually born in so, like me, if you're white, the chances are you're Irish descent or you're West Indian. But what those areas have, there's a certain social cohesiveness. So although you watch the film that you just see, in some ways you don't really get that context of what those areas were about. Because it was poor. It's like the old John Cooper Clarke joke. The one thing that we had that money couldn't buy was poverty.
Yeah.
And so to put that context and then that cohesion of how well you got on with each other and what it meant to you, and a certain amount of loyalty, loyalty to your own. Everyone associates those areas, with gangs, gangsters, but it comes out of that. First and foremost, you have to have that loyalty to your own. So if at times and you're watching Nicky, aka MC Tunes, kind of talking about violent things, it's not like you're watching an episode of Shameless or Jeremy Kyle in the morning. It's got a context and a narrative to it, because often those things came out of the fear of what you were expected to be. If you wanted to have friends, if you wanted people to be loyal to you, you had to show in a way that you were kind of a stand-up guy, and that would come in many different guises. You would be respected for kind of being who you are, basically. And often you would be judged harshly by outsiders. So even in the context of what everyone thinks of as the Manchester music scene, everyone thinks of it as being very indie, very white, very, maybe a bit dirgy, esoteric, idiosyncratic.
Yeah.
The reality is, most of the music that's come out of Manchester since like the early 60s has been huge pop hits. It's been dance music, it's been black music, it's been bands like the Hollies and Herman's Hermits and the Bee Gees. It's not about Joy Division. Yeah, it's not about Joy Division. 10cc, for instance. If Graham Goulburn out of 10cc hadn't been such a successful songwriter in the 1960s, there would never have been an independent music scene in Manchester.
Yeah.
Because he took that money, but unlike perhaps the Beatles and McCartney and Lennon, when Graham Goulburn made that money, he invested it back into Manchester by building a world-class recording studio called Strawberry in Stockport.
Thank you.
And so, that's why Joy Division were able to record in Manchester, and Manchester could develop that. So I just got to put that.
See what I mean? See what I mean? Honestly, honestly, tell it. You do it for me, mate. Honestly, every fucking time you do it for me, pal.
No, but seriously, looking at that context, and and what we didn't get in the film was a lot of your lyrics, and I've always been a great admirer of you, because in many ways, Nicky was 18 years of age when he was signed by ZTT, Trevor Horn, he did all the Frankie Goes to Hollywood stuff, to a major label, really, which was set up originally by Paul Morley, who was a kind of Stockport music journalist. He was the first guy to sort of write about Joy Division and the likes. And so Trevor Horn, and Joe Sinclair, they believed in Nicky because he was Britain's Eminem. Nicky had street credibility. It wasn't some young kid mouthing off about hitting people with baseball bats. But when you look at it,
happened.
But what I'm talking about is
that was the scariest thing. But that was.
But if we go back,
scary once it gets past that sort of Eminem thing, because obviously Eminem, he was a tough kid, he grew up on it. But once it becomes reality, white people go, ooh, do you get what I mean? And I always felt that. I always felt really conscious about really being honest, because being dead honest, it's like you've got the, I think, because you're a really intelligent person and you've got a great fucking, honestly, this guy knows so much about United, it's untrue. But with that, his music knowledge is just out there, honestly. He can fucking name it, I'll hum it. He really is that good, and I missed a lot of that. I did miss a lot of that. So I found if you get too close to the truth, and then the truth is there for you to see, people kind of go, oh, scared. You know what I mean? And I was never sort of say conniving enough. To use that to the advantage.
It's one of the weird things. If you watch that as an outsider, what you don't feel is your vulnerability, because your upbringing was hard, wasn't it? I mean, we saw how young your mum was.
Yeah.
You know, beautiful woman and everything like that.
Yeah.
But in reality, you know, tell us now. So when you were a kid, what was your upbringing like?
Well, my nana was a brass, which was always fun. Yeah, that was fun. And yeah, I mean, you know, I grew up. By '78, by the time I became conscious of what was going on around me, everybody was on heroin, and heroin for the newspapers, it wasn't really a big hit until 1981. Well, my dad was a full-blown fucking heroin addict by 1986. Yeah, 76, sorry. 1976, full-blown heroin.
And that was actually unusual.
Yeah, it was really, well, they didn't know. They didn't know they were heroin addicts, because my dad, he'd get it, and the only way to test heroin was by smoking. That's the only way you can know if it's good smack, is by smoking it. The thing they didn't know was, you smoke smack for 6 months, you're a smackhead. So my dad didn't know, by the time he was shaking and he was fucking having internal bleeding, it was only 1979. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, New Jack City and all them fuckery films, they didn't come out until 1985. Do you get what I mean? So I'd already felt it. It was already a really big thing. So when I wrote my own worst enemy, you know, I spent all last night sleeping on street corners, my head's aching and shaking like a nut. Nobody knew what the fuck I was talking about. Do you get what I mean? It was only until one summer, Icky and fucking Icky. Do you remember that style? Yeah. It was only until like, like 1982, 1983, where people started to recognise actually what was going on around the fucking heads. By that time, I'd lost I'd just signed my record deal, nearly lost the record deal. Nobody really got it. So, you know, for me, growing up in Moss Side was one of the happiest times of my life, but there was a fucking tragedy going on around your head that you had to talk about.
But this is one of the things I'm saying, you know, you grew up in a family with a lot of pain. Your mum was busy a lot of the time, so you didn't get looked after, you didn't get your needs met, did you?
Well, what are your needs really? I mean, you only need them when you know you need them.
No, but be honest now, you know, because, you know, this is the thing with the film, there's a certain amount of honesty in there, but, you know, I can remember you talking to me about stealing blue ribbons for your team in 9/11.
That was funny.
Yeah, but you were going over
I got caught for that.
To a house where you didn't have any tea.
No, we didn't. I mean, it was hard work.
For Nicky, though, a lot of that information is kind of encoded in the lyrics. You're almost like a street correspondent. You know, you're reporting from your life, aren't you?
No. What I'm trying to get at here is that you cover up a lot of your own personal pain.
Yes, I do.
With the kind of brashness and the.
Yes, I do. I think that's habit, because there's only so many ways you can be accepted in a conversation.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is because you weren't getting your needs met as a kid, and what happened with your dad, there was always going to be that part of you where you were slightly a people pleaser. And maybe that's why you were the entertainer then.
Yeah, I do watch. There's only so many. I realised when I first met Joe Sinclair from ZTT, I first met Trevor on, I scared the bejesus out of that white boy Terry. Video kills the radio star. Motherfucker didn't know what hit him, and I was just being me. And I didn't understand that had a lasting effect on my future. Because when it came to me and Honky, which is the reason I got dropped for, he chose Honky.
Sheffield, yeah. Because they were seen to be more easily
Well,
controlled.
there was a black guy in it, he was rapping white, and then you've got a white guy rapping black. Whoa, whoa.
But in many ways,
scary back in the 80s, it's alright now with Eminem.
But what I'm getting at is maybe for you, you know, as that working class kid, and you have the environment that you grew up with, you know.
We were working class, we were.
Yeah, okay, well, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from.
So what it was you don't show that vulnerability. And yet it was the vulnerability you had.
Can't show vulnerability.
And yet it was the vulnerability you had that made people like you anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
But I never got that. I always thought, if you show vulnerability, you're fucked. And if you act too hard, nobody's going to give you any money. Because otherwise, I might as well just rob him. Do you know what I mean? I might as well just rob him.
But that's what I'm saying. You spent a lot of your time covering up any vulnerability.
Yeah, I did.
Is that because in many ways you felt too much?
I felt like, you know, it's one thing, you know, you're going back to your hood and people going, oh, Nick, Nicky, I seen you on the list, Christian man. You look so right in our bed, give me your money. Which is how the baseball bat thing started.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? It was like, I was a really naughty boy, and then I stopped being a naughty boy. And when I stopped, the guys on my block went, dickhead, let's get his money. And honestly, it was that harsh, and it was really fucking difficult to deal with.
What I'm saying is that a lot of it was front. I mean, one bit that I found quite uncomfortable watching, and I'm going to talk to Howard about this in a minute, in the film was where you were talking about your dad. Now, obviously, it's going to hurt anything.
You got to make light, haven't you?
Well, no, but what I'm saying, you were kind of, you know, 19, obviously you got over it, or you dealt with it, or you thought you had, in your own particular way.
Yeah.
But in some ways, it's like when you were watching it back, all the thoughts that you were having there, that hurt, because you knew that in some ways you'd never dealt with the feelings.
No, you're right, yeah. I'm really good fucking question-ish kind of pulley-outy emotional thing. But that was really good, that. But you know, it was that. Oh God, fuck me. I've never come to terms with my dad dying. Never. I don't like that he died that way, Terry, on my fucking life. It breaks my heart, me. That this. Honestly, it fucks me off and it gets me mad. But I've come to realise that not everybody gets that, and to shout in the face as a wrongness and to go, this is wrong, this is who I am, you all don't understand me, just makes white people close the front door. It's like hearing a Christmas carol, Merry Christmas! Close the fucking door. You are a jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle. That's, you know what I mean. So I realised, and it was hard work, sort of catching up with myself. But by the time I got to the Dust Junkies with Johnny, I sort of realised that Johnny told me, and Johnny's the biggest, blackest, cheat millist. He's, you know, we know Johnny, and people don't like Johnny. Oh, he's Johnny White Boy. No, he's not. He's the most blackest person I've ever met in my life. But he kind of showed me, like, there's a certain amount of you people like, Nicky. When it gets to that real shit and you start coughing blood up, you know, yeah, this happened, blood, cough, pain, people just turn off. Do you know what I mean? Because it's too scary for him, and my whole dad situation is too scary for me. Yeah.
I mean, when you're making a film, what were you trying to portray about Nicky? Howard?
it started off as a commission from Trevor, and it could have just come to rest there.
So was a lot of it to try and create this brand of the hard white wrap?
That's where we began. That's where it began. If you remember the term EPK, electronic press kit, as they were known at the time, which was just a little promo tape that would have a little bit of a music video in it, a bit of interview, then this guy's got more to say. Everyone saw some of the footage and go, yeah, actually there's a bit bigger story going on here. So we shot some more. Where it starts to get interesting, and that would simply have been a promotional exercise, a marketing firm was commissioned to make it. Where it got interesting for me, where it starts as a film for me, was when Trevor, who had been so visionary as to sign Nicky, then decides to part company. And after things calmed down, a couple of weeks later or a month later, Nicky and I were chatting. We said, well, let's carry on. Maybe there's something bigger here. I knew that Nicky was an interesting guy. I knew he still had a lot to say. And so over the next few years, every time something happened, or indeed sometimes when we would just hang out and chat, we'd shoot something. And there was no real plan. There was no vision other than, I mean, looking back, what I now realise it's a kind of long-term observational thing. And Nicky never said, I don't want a camera around. There were some times when it was very uncomfortable, and there's a tremendous amount of footage that's been lost. All these things, apart from the stuff where we're looking back at the old tapes, all that was shot across. Well, some of there's a for filmmaking balls.
Well, wasn't it worry you in a way that the thing with Nicky is that he is a kind of for all the hard front, he is a pleaser. So he's always going to give you the showman version.
Yeah, he's going to perform.
And he's going to think, right, you want the white working class rapper from the hard area. I'm going to give you that full on. I'm not going to talk about Byron. Yeah. I'm not going to talk about the fact that I like colouring in books when I was a kid. I'm going to talk about smashing bottles and running away from the police.
I get that.
No, nobody's all one thing.
But now it's Confronting. You did, when I'm sat there with the daft shirt and the shorts on, and I'm talking about my son, that is not, I couldn't give a by that point, Sarah, I could not give a fuck, could I? Because I've just been backed 7 times by the police for selling weed, and that was only because I lived next door to a guy who robbed a bank. And he got my door mixed up with his front. And honestly, these are the shits you write albums about. These are the things. So by the time I'm sat in my living room going, oh yeah, I'm a single dad now, and I'm really happy. Fuck yeah, I'm happy, because I don't have to be bad, which is good. Do you know what I mean? But I got battered by the police for about 6 months, every other fucking week, because they got me mixed up with the guy next door running me house and went, lie down. I went, no. Right? Because he had a hoodie on. I didn't know he was a cop. And he kicked 7 pints of shit out of him. And I got targeted then for another 4 fucking years. So by that point, he was with the daft shirt on his shorts.
You should have had that in the documentary.
Yeah, well, it probably is.
You didn't talk about that.
Well, yeah, honestly, maybe I didn't tell him about that. But this is the thing. By that point, I didn't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck anymore. Because I don't think there's anything more. I'm sick of sort of... I love music. And I love writing. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love going in the studio. I love making... It really does still make my dick hard. And there's a point now where it's not like watching old porn movies wishing you were going out with the girlfriend you did have, because I decided about 10 years ago that music's, for me, is like the girlfriend you loved so much and then turned it out to be the dirtiest slag in the world. You know when you're in love, and she breaks your heart. And you go, oh, you're just wrong. That's the music business for me. But I still love her.
Well, that's the sign of it.
Do you know what I mean? I still love her. I still love that skanky rotten bitch. I still love that dirty, low down fucking hoe that broke my fucking heart all them days. I still love her. Deep down inside, I'm gonna beat her. I want her. Can I just hold your hand?
But again,
Well, in answer to
We
your
will
question,
make it one day.
well, in answer to your question, sorry,
I mean, what I meant was, you know, in terms of the film, that context, you know, the connection that you have with music and how a lot of the kind of, if you like the pain, a lot of your expression came out through that because it couldn't come out in another way. And although it seems aggressive, there is a certain feeling, you know, there's a certain tenderness. I mean, even if we talk about, and you know, if we talk about Nicky, you know, in real terms, I mean, the Dust Junkies were signed for 800,000 quid. I hope the taxman's not watching.
Hey, I didn't see a fucking penny.
This was the advance that they got in 1996, and that was major stuff. And you had some great musicians and artists in
Great
the band.
musicians.
And so what happened again with the Dust Junkies? Because you know you were sort of with the fun-loving criminals on tour around Europe. You were tipped for big things. Everyone was excited about your great live shows. So what happened?
Too many black people in the band, sorry. Honestly, it sounds...
I mean, no, put it in a way that people can understand what you're
Right.
saying there.
Right, okay.
Otherwise you sound like you're Nick Griffin.
Yeah, right, I love black music. I've always loved black. I mean, I wouldn't have got into music if it wasn't for black music. It is the music to like. Whether it's reggae, blues, soul, R&B, hip-hop, whatever the fuck, whatever the weather, Trevor, right? It's all black orientated. Now, there's a certain point where music becomes unblack, right? And I don't like that shit. I don't like it, never have done liked it. So, at the end of the day, when I put the Dust Junkies together with Johnny J, I wanted to make black music. I wanted to make black music. I was sick and fucking tired of Bears, and fucking this, and the acid, and the big flares, and the floppy hats. I was fucking sick of it, man. I was never into it. The only rhyme that bites annoys me. It annoys me, you know why? Because there's no fucking rhythm. There's no rhythm. Don't be fucking heading, but it was a means to an end in my eyes. That's why I loved it. I loved being there because I always thought, yeah, there's an end to this story. I'm gonna make some real music one day. So I put together the Dust Junkies, which was real fucking music. But there was too many black faces in that band. I was signed to a record company, and this is really true from the bottom of my heart. I was signed to a record company called Polydor, and they had Gene and Cast. Oh, walk away! What, really? Honestly, walk away, walk away! Do you remember the tune? The Scouts, the white boys, you know, the legs? Fucking annoying. Really annoying they were. And they had Gene, which were really awful.
I don't remember.
But it was like a couple of guys that the A&R man knew from school, some shit like that. Yeah, oh, they were just awful. And there was a choice. I remember Tricky did the front cover of The Enemy, and they lost like 60,000 magazine sales overnight.
Whenever they put a black artist on the front cover of The Enemy, sales would drop by something like 20%.
Yeah. So by the time it got round to us, I'm not pretty enough to be X Factor, your daughter's going to crack one out over the poster, right? Because that's what it's about, really, you know, when it comes to the short-term shit. Your girlfriend, you know, your daughter's not going to crack one out like this, looking at JLS going, oh, I love him. And the mate saying next to her going, no, I love him. I know, I've got, I want to be like him. No, I want to be like him. So I was never that, I wasn't that white guy. I was not that white boy. and then to have, doesn't matter if the black guys are good looking or not.
Yeah, like
Doesn't
Sam
it?
was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's fucking gorgeous.
Guitarist.
God, his dad was Victor Brox, man. He was a fucking legend. So we just, you know, I wasn't good looking enough to pull it off, and they were too black. And that's why we should have got, we were lined up for the front cover, and it never happened, and cast got it.
And then what was interesting as well was Radio
And I
1.
lost my heart. That's when I gave
Radio
up.
1 at the time didn't give you the support that you warranted.
Simon Mayo tried his hardest.
Because they actually said they were aiming more for a female
Oh,
audience,
God,
and your
yeah.
music was too laddish.
Yeah, too laddie. What does that mean? Laddish. I'm not the fuck. What do they call the Mac lads? Didn't we sound like the Mac lads? No, we had rhythms, grooves. What it was, too many blackies, ugly white boy. Oh, we can't stick them on the front cover of the fucking Enemy. So that was us. That was, and I think I perpetuated the ending of the Dust Junkies by going, fuck off. Because I'd rather eat cat shit with a knitting needle. Honest to God, I'd rather eat big litter tray, cat turds all around, and do this. No. No. No, honestly, I think I perpetuated the end of that record there.
That, you know, if you were looking back at it now, in a weird way, that's kind of a pain that you have from somewhere else making you react like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all really.
You know,
yeah.
Maybe if you'd have got everything you wanted, maybe if you'd have got that scale extra when you were a kid.
Never. No, I don't think that. No.
Do you know what I mean?
No, because no. I don't think getting a scale extra defines how you are as a writer. I think if you get this, I think as a writer you can observe and write just as well as what goes to the left of your jokes to my left.
No. What I'm saying is
right,
you wouldn't overreact to those situations because I mean it's fair to say
I didn't
that
overreact with the Dust Junkies.
it's fair to say in the Dust Junkies era there was a certain amount of self-medication going on in the band, wasn't there?
Only me. Because Mikey never smoked weed. Nobody smoked weed. I you know me. Well, you know me. I mean, I'll do what I want to do. But I think Johnny doesn't smoke weed.
Well, he wasn't in the band, was he?
No, but he was my closest advisor.
What was weed the problem though?
Never weed, never the problem. Just smokes a joint out there. I'm fucking great. 3 people at the back there with a big hair. That's great.
I mean, you know what I'm driving at? It was a cocaine era, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, but I mean, I've never had a problem with cocaine. I've never had a problem with cocaine. I think cocaine was an excuse that I might have used to sort of excuse me telling people to fuck off.
Yeah.
Because the Pogues couldn't do it. But I could never do it. I could never go like that to, like, you know, Trevor On or Lucian Grange. Right? Fuck off. You absolutely no thinking cocksucker. You haven't got a Scooby-Doo. What are you talking about? And then go, well, I've not had a line.
I mean, you mentioned the Pogues there, you know, because obviously Shane MacGowan could do that. But what I'm saying, was there more of an acceptance of someone like Shane MacGowan who,
yes.
For all his thing, he was basically a public schoolboy, wasn't he?
Yes, exactly.
So
exactly.
more acceptance of the behaviour like that from
someone
like him.
Yeah.
You could say, well, he's rather rash and he's a bit eccentric, but underneath it all, he's one.
When all the doors were shut, Shane MacGowan is a fucking pussycat. When all the doors are shut, with me, it just depends who's in the room. And that's what I think, personally, the record. And I'm not proud of being a twat, but I don't like knobheads. And I can't, and if I think back now, because, and it's fuck I had Dante, honestly, I mean, I've got kids, my oldest son's 21, my daughter's 19, she's at university, he's just moved in with his bird. I've got great kids, but Dante, being a single dad, honestly, you know, it really did wake me up, and I'm not going to let my hurt and pain infect his life.
But what I'm saying is your hurt and pain, because if you think about it in real terms, you had success as MC Tunes, as a solo artist, age 18, 19, 20. You had success with the Dust Junkies, you were a little bit unlucky, but you got plenty of money paid up front.
Yeah.
So I don't see the failure there.
No, there is not, no.
But what I'm saying is, you know, and you talk about Dante now, and I would argue that
I was never happy, Terry.
part of that pain is you lost your dad. Now, a lot of kids who didn't lose their dads, those dads were doing crap jobs like driving buses, working in warehouses. They were having to eat a shit sandwich every day of their lives.
I don't think it would have made any difference whether my dad
No, but what I'm saying is, so to have had somebody like that around for you, where he could have said to you, look, you've got to do crap in life. It's about getting that paycheck at the end of the week to pay your bills. But you were able to become an artist.
Yeah, every bloke I ever looked up to died of a heroin overdose. And there's about 7 of them. And that's before the age of 15. But I don't know, Terry. That's a really good fucking question. Because I'm never going to blame anybody for who I am. I'm never, you know, I am who I am, and I've never been one of them. And I remember Gerald trying to bring it out of me back in the day. Be angry.
A guy called Gerald. You be angry.
Yes, be angry, Nicky. Be angry. No, I mean, there's one thing being angry, like for the cameras, and then there's one thing being angry.
For a guy called Gerald.
Yeah, which is, you know, and he wanted to do that, and I remember him telling me to do it, but I've never been happy with whinging, and I think that's a big part of my unsuccess, the fact that I couldn't give a fuck.
Sometimes, though, you're allowed to whinge, you know, and you're allowed to sort of, you know, show that bit of pain.
Yeah.
Again, you know, with the film, because, you know, there's a part of it where it's still an ongoing project, isn't it?
I guess we could carry on.
Until the bitter end.
Yeah. What do you mean?
No, I mean for you, you know, is there a story that you would still like to tell, you know, in terms of that film?
What, in terms of the film as is now?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, moving it away from Nicky and into the film itself. I mean, what we've got, you know, from my, looking back from my perspective, it tells a long story of what happened in Manchester music, because Nicky ate late state. Dust Junkies were very significant. It also tells somewhat the story of filmmaking itself, because I mean, you were around at the time. You remember what a camera kit used to be and how many people that involved and what it cost, and then to edit it, that cost. When there's a lot of talk of criminality in the film. There was in the making of it, there was a softer criminality where along the way, because it was so expensive to work in edit suites, I would steal time on the end of commercial jobs, and we'd stay and work on the film. Some of the material in there is, it seems a very, very distant and old-fashioned thing now, but you would make what was called an offline, where you'd have the burnt-in time code, those numbers flicking away there, and I would make reference tapes on VHS, so that next time I could steal some time, I'd know what to do. However, in the meantime, the master tapes, the broadcast tapes that we were shooting on, had rotted. Yeah. So when we came to make this, some of the actual content of that is made from VHS reference tapes. So there's a very there's an archaeology gone on there as well. And when the film was very, as it was shown here tonight, due to the system, despite Joe's better efforts, it was a bit glitchy, but I guess you couldn't really tell because most of the material was just so shot up anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, falling to bits. But I think that you know, for me, that's what I enjoyed about finally making the film. And there was an opportunity, you know, going back to that expense thing and the fact you needed some huge kind of Star Trek console thing to edit. Now I just edited that at home. So the digital revolutions allowed that to happen finally. So that, you know.
And for you, you know, because you were a pioneer, in many ways, you know, had you been from London, had you been some East End kid, like a kind of plan B, you know, then
Yeah,
with all
no,
the
I
celebrating,
can be.
you'd be, but what I'm saying is, he's able to say more or less what you were saying 20 odd years
He's in
ago,
Sweeney.
and yet be celebrated. But there was still not only that kind of anti-working class thing within the media, there was a slightly anti-northern thing as well, wasn't
Yeah, I think it's a totally anti-northern thing. I think they always has, unless you like Frank from Shameless, it is, you know what I mean, unless you're dancing like the monkey, unless you're doing this, nobody gives a fuck, because they expect you to be a certain way. And when you don't actually be the monkey they want you to be, they get annoyed at you. You get annoyed because that seems to like, well...
Yeah, do you think that's what John Lennon meant in that song Working Class Hero? He said, they hate you if you're clever and they despise a fool.
Yeah, probably, yeah, definitely. They hate you anyway. Yeah, definitely. They just hate you anyway. I mean, it's alright being flat cap like the Monty Python thing where the babies are falling out the fannies. I had, sure, you know, I lived in a cardboard box. Cardboard box? I lived in a cardboard box on a motorway. Right, unless you're that, unless you're the cliche. And it's only because a lot of the creative money is surrounded by the BBC, which is like, well, let's not mention the devil. But, you know, I think, you know, it's like you've either got to play the game and you've got to get your game right, but, you know, yeah, there was definitely prejudice because Tony Wilson, they fucking hated him. And when he died, it was all over.
Well, I have to say, when I was doing the Word, all my press was like thick, inarticulate, cerebrally challenged, moron, blah de blah, or as if I'd just parachuted in from a Coronation Street theme park. You know, which you know maybe I had.
No, well, yeah, that's what they want. That's what they expect. And obviously, you're talking about me being the, you know, blah blah. But he drives everybody mad, and I'm so happy for Terry Christian. Honestly, because if there wasn't you, it'd be me, and you're far cleverer than me.
Hey,
so
if I'd have got 800 grand off Polydor for
yeah, but it was never 800 grand. It was never 800 grand, Terry. It was 120 grand, and it was all spent on equipment and recording. I never seen a penny. I had to pay Mikey Wilson £250 a week because he said he had baby mother here, baby mother there, and I had some problem, you know, working with black people. They've always got fucking kids, right, and baby mums, and that was Mikey. He got more wages. That's not racist. Nobody can sound racist. It isn't about racist. But Mikey Wilson's the average Jamaican black guy, 2 different baby mums, 75 fucking kids, right? And he needed 250 quid a week.
Well, Nicky, I think you could.
That's what he needed. He's a great drummer. He still needed 250 quid a week.
Every single band, all
you know what I mean?
the American bands wanted to sign him up all the time.
I don't give a fuck about the American bands. He was in the Dust Junkies because he got 250.
Oh, but yeah, I think you can put a better spin.
That's why, otherwise he would have been, and I know Mikey, motherfucker would have been playing in them American bands. If he would have got 350 quid a week, my guy would have been bouncing and I would have gone, fair enough.
Well,
no problem.
There's a better spin for this, Nicky, because you could have done.
That's the truth anyway, I don't care.
You could have kept the advance, you and Johnny.
Just split it up, done Finley Quaid. Finley Quaid left Manchester owing the Gooch 15 grand, right? Cocksucker signed the fucking publishing deal on his bill. Left Sticks and the rest of the man there done it, right? Went to sign, snorted the fucking lot, mate. Now he's back in Manchester trying to revive his career because he knows all the guys that he wanted to kill him are in jail. Doing 30 fucking years, mate. Fuck Finley Quaid.
Now what we really want to know is when is MC Tunes, the book coming out? The real story.
We're going to work on it, aren't we?
That's going to happen.
Because you wrote a couple of good books, so...
yeah,
you have, yeah.
Good lad. No, Look, brilliant. So Howard, listen, good luck and thanks for the film. And it would be good if you carried it on here. It could be like 7 Up, couldn't it? You know what I mean? 56 Up, whatever. Where will it be in 7 years' time? But still, you're a pioneer. You've got a lot to be proud of. And sometimes I think, and especially when you come from those working class backgrounds, it's easy to have a downer on yourself.
Oh yeah.
But in reality, it's your journey.
I just like to fight, me.
Well,
I'm like you, Terry. I like to argue and fight.
But your journey was interesting. I mean, for me, all these years, 30 years in the media, and last week was doing like the one-man show in Charlton. And I said, here I am, 50 years on, and I'm at Charlton Irish Club doing it. I said, and us media movies,
you do that shit, brother.
we love to talk about our journey.
Yeah.
And I thought, 10 minutes on the 84 bus. But I think it's good that people like tunes are around, and you think about the music business and you think about culture in this country, and yet it's still unusual, and it's getting more so nowadays that you've actually got working class kids from up north in the music business. And it's not that normal. It is quite unusual.
It's hard work. I mean, you've only got to look at the X Factor. I mean, I'm not dissing the X Factor.
You should.
No, I'm not going to diss the X Factor. You know why? Because the individuals that go on there, motherfuckers, don't have a clue, mate.
Hopes and dreams.
Hopes and dreams, and they rape you on that shit. So, I'm not going to diss people that have a go. Because if you don't have a go, you're a pussy. No disrespect to pussies. Anyway, right, if you don't have a go, you're a wanker. No disrespect to wankers, but if you don't have a go, go fuck yourself. Go sit in a corner and cry in your beer, you motherfucker. Fuck you, whinging. So unless you're gonna actually have a crack and get hurt, then don't. If you're not prepared to hurt, if you're not prepared to die a little bit, fuck you.
What you're trying to say is if as long as you try, you never fail.
No, yeah. Yeah.
He's a real star. Thanks a lot. Fruity language there.
I'm known for my French.
Yeah. We'll have to work on that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Any questions, anyone?
Put your fucking hand down, you. Really?
Yeah, right, thank you. Terry, you talked about, Nicky, you talked about the dust junkies, 2 minutes black faces, 1 white face. How much do you think black great, or to you, loads of white faces, 1 black face? Do you think they were born out of the dust junkies, or not?
No, I think Sean Ryder's he's a good writer, but Kermit is the rap assassins, which people don't really understand about black rape. The fact that Kermit was in Ruthless Rap Assassins, which is one of my fucking and one of my heroes, was the main writer on that album. Yeah. And you had Wags, which is from the Paris Angels, and Wags is a fucking genius. I think basically Kermit was the unrecognised talent of black rape, and I think that's the shame about the whole. Because Dust Junkies did a tour with black rape right round England.
I think Kermit was an actual star.
One of my heroes, man.
When he was a kid. The weird thing with the
Ruthless Rap Assassins too,
well, even with the Ruthless Rap Assassins, you'd say that maybe Anderson and Carson wrote the cleverer lyrics.
He was the great.
But Kermit was the energy.
He was the boy.
He was like the Flavor Flav, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was great.
You saw that in Bentley Rhythm Ace too, didn't he? He went on and did that with Bentley Rhythm Ace. He spent quite a bit of time there.
Living in Chester now, Kermit.
Yeah. I was out with him during the week. He slept on my couch. Me and Kermit are still friends, but he's a hero to me, and it's like, it's great for me to be able to hang out with one of my heroes, do you know what I mean? But I think with the Black Grape thing, obviously, you know, I think they were recording, did really well. Sean's obviously a big star, and I just think, you know, if Kermit would have been a little bit more recognised, you know, he would have been doing it still now. He's going to put the Rap Assassins back together, and I'm going to rap on one of the tracks. Yeah. It's true, that, though. It's a true thing.
I was just going to ask, a lot of people say that the difference between American music and UK music is a sense of humour. And someone like yourself, you've got an absolutely fantastic working class sense of humour. Do you think that contributed towards the success that you had? Or do you think in some ways people didn't take you as seriously because you found humour in the darker circumstances?
I think a lot of that, I think maybe people didn't understand what I was trying to say sometimes. But I mean, you know, if it ain't funny, then it's always funny. Even, you know, I've seen people getting shot in the kneecaps, carrying them to hospital, and we'll piss ourselves because it's kind of outrageous and funny, right? And the guy's getting fucking pellets taken out of his leg, and I'm going blah blah blah, and he goes blah blah blah. So yeah, I mean, there's always humour. I think a sense of humour is never take yourself too seriously, but be ready to fight.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Does that make any sense?
No. I didn't get that.
No.
Hi. I think Terry showed tonight where he's one of the best interviewers, and it's a shame he's not on TV at the moment.
I agree.
You mean with the old show?
That's it, that's what I mean.
Too expensive. It's dumbed down too much. I tried to get that shouty show where I just said, how dare you be poor? I'm Jeremy Kyle. But I was the wrong demographic.
You mentioned it, I said, I hate that motherfucking tune, man. I agree.
You brighten up daytime TV anyway.
Thanks.
I think Terry mentioned it a couple of times in the interview. He said about this, the hard lyrics but the soft exterior, and it certainly came over in the movie tonight, and it really hit a chord with me. We've got two lovely kittens which we adore, and you said about your dog, and your dog got kicked, and you said how your dog had feelings too, the dog got made of rubber. And I thought it was a standout line in the movie. And I just wondered if you'd ever thought of doing a rap and being a spokesperson for the RSPCA.
Hey man, I don't give anything a crack, me. And I reckon, you know, give me a couple of hours and a pencil, I'd probably do the best fucking advert they ever seen in their life. Just give me a shot. Why do you know somebody personally in that motherfucker? Because, you know, just give me the number.
We'd love to hear it. I'm sure Euclide's got a pencil that can lend you.
Thank you, thank you.
The only vegetarian sausage that bites.
Nicky, we spoke at length about this, yeah. But the one thing that the film's not covered, a lot of people know, is you did the vocals for Fatboy Slim, Gangster Trippin', which is one of Fatboy Slim's most successful songs, and you've not been paid out or even recognised or credited for that. And you talk about the music business being like an old girl, and it'll break your heart. How much does that break your heart when you hear that on the radio?
Fuck me. It doesn't break me heart listening to it on the radio, but it just kind of reinforces my idea that it's a slut. The whole Fatboy Slim thing, I remember walking into the A&R guy's room and he went, yeah, you know, Norman Cook wants to use your vocal from the Beatbox Wash, which is I wanna kick it. Stick him, ha ha ha, stick him. That's what we're doing when the Fat Boys tripping. It was like a B-side. It was like the B-side of Living in the Pocket of a Truck Queen. And I remember arguing with the record company going, look, put the fucking thing on the B-side, man. Put it on the B-side. It's one of them, we need it on there. And he went on there and Norman Cook fucking heard it and bullet stick him, ha 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 stick him. That's what we're doing when the fat boy's tripping. That's what we're doing when the fat boy's tripping. And I remember signing a bit of paper in Polydor saying he could use it and I'd get 7.5%. But somebody failed to register me with PRS, man. Let's not do that one, right? But
he's been picking up your 7.5%.
So anyway, I was somebody failed to register me for the PRS, and yeah, I was fucking annoyed about that.
And can't you go back and?
No, yeah, you can only get it backdated 6 years, but I reckon these 75 cocksuckers already been paid, and it's like one of them, when he's a paedophile in the BBC, you gotta wait till every motherfucker dead before that charge gets brought, right? So there's still too many people earning money from them royalties for anything to happen. Paedophiles.
It does work the other way around. I had a mate who was a drummer in quite an unsuccessful band called Beekeepers. He used to get a PRS check for about 15 quid a year, then suddenly started getting checks for about £2,000 every year. Yeah. And it was because the name of the guy who was a drummer with Susie and the Banshees, in reality was Steve Bailey. Right. So he was getting his check for PRS payments.
Really?
And guess what? He never confessed.
I'm going to phone Johnny about that.
He's come to rely on that money now.
I'm going to phone Johnny about that. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a writer. If you look in the back of there, Fat Boy's Tripping, and if there's anybody here that wants to, get into the music business, I'm a writer on the back of the Fat Boy's Tripping album. If you look on the album written by the Dust Junkies, blah, blah, blah. I'm down for 7.5% with PRS and MCPS and so on and so forth. But nobody registered me for it.
You do it yourself.
I was on fucking tour, god damn it. And there was no internet. And there was no internet back in them days, mate. Well, it was, but it was like a beat going like this across your screen, and that was the website for Polydor.
As long as you're not bothered about it now.
So, if there's any, well, I am bothered about it, but you know what, I'll fuck them, I don't give a fuck, I'll just make another tune, that's the way I see it, fuck them,
I want to find some young musicians like you were at that age.
Yeah. So if there's anybody out here that's making music or signing record deals...
Don't be stupid.
No, it's not don't be stupid, right, it's a case of make sure you're registered with PRS for every fucking
But you would have been 25, 26 at the time.
Yeah, I was on tour. Dust Junkies did 316 gigs in a year, Terry. 316, man.
Sleepless nights over that.
All we did was play and drink and play. 316, what's it, 356 days in a year.
You didn't have 10 minutes to register with PRS.
I didn't even think about it. I was too deep in pussy and too deep on the mic. Sorry. I was doing other things, Terry.
You couldn't take 10 minutes out.
Really? Is that what you're saying?
Long-term view.
Ah, you're evil, you. You're just evil, Terry.
That's the difference between postcodes, M16 and M4. We take the 10 minutes out.
No, yeah, I just took it for I took it for granted. The lesson is, basically, take nothing for fucking granted. Always check your shit. Because there's no better manager for your own shit than you yourself. And honestly, these don't ever... And it's not like not trust people, it's just assume everybody's thick as fucking pig shit. And just, work from there.
As if Norman Cook needed the money.
I know, as if. He won't do my shit live. When he did the Olympics, Vince told me about this, when he did the Olympics, Fat Boy Tripping was the only song he didn't play. Because I'd been on the phone 6 months before to PRS going, where's my motherfucking money, god damn it? So when he did the opening ceremony, whatever the fuck, he never made every other tune other than Fat Boy's doing. And it only takes a paranoid individual pothead to come up with. That's because he didn't pay me no PRS, right? Yeah, man, that's how I feel.
If I play any of his stuff, I'm going to put his stuff down as being one of yours.
Good.
Alright, is that it now?
Just one more.
Nikki, we've heard a lot about your past. What does the future hold for you? Or what would you like the future to hold for you?
Me little boy, really. Honestly, it sounds corny and cheesy and all that fuckery, but I mean, I'm always going to be hardworking and I'm always going to be looking for something to do. I do a lot of DJing. I've gone back to DJing because I enjoy it. The future, hopefully, if I'm going to do something or something pops off, maybe I'll be able to fucking grab that bitch by the neck and hold on to that motherfucker and get all the work I can out of it. But the future really is me little boy.
How old is he now?
6.
I don't think
He's free on that.
chimney.
You know, little him. He's 6 now, and that's really it. And if I can do things like this and DJ and write and you know, that's great. But really, I'm not gonna have Dante feeling what I felt ever in his fucking life.
That's your bombshell.
Yeah.
Don't do as I did, son. You know, but that's fantastic. Listen, you know, again, I've got to say thanks to Nicky Lockett, aka MC Tunes, and Howard Walmsley. And,
That's right, that's all.